It's not a big deal to me. I'm just happy to see. All right, we're live. This is the Daily Dirt with Dustin Diggs. I got one of my good friends here. Known him for about 3 years now. It's been about 3 years. Uh, the the infamous Douglas O'Shea is in my house.
Yeah.
And
Better known to the fans, the Irish Double.
the Irish Devil. Are you still going by that?
Yep.
Now, I always found it fascinating. We can talk about RCW, but I kind of want to get in depth of just how you got started with wrestling. How long have you been doing this?
Since 1992.
It's a little closer to you. Yeah.
My dad was a big fan, and he had an opportunity to get into the professionals. He went from the Army and then went into a carnival after he got out of the Army, and there was a wrestling show going there. And if I get the story right, I always screw the story up, but apparently the announcer said if anybody can get into the ring and beat this guy, you have an opportunity to become a pro wrestler. My dad got in there and beat him.
He didn't do wrestling before that at all?
Well, he was a school wrestler.
Oh, a school wrestler.
But he was never.
And this was 1992 when this
No,
happened?
that was in the 70s.
Oh, okay, okay.
So, my mom didn't want to travel, so he didn't follow the dream. And I ended up becoming a fan, and he lived his dream throughout me.
And so you grew up probably in the 80s watching the WWF.
Yeah, since birth. I was born in
Right.
73, so I've been watching since. I was never a fan back in the 70s. I was like, oh, this is boring.
Right.
And then, certain wrestlers start coming out. I'm like, wait a minute here. Now this is getting interesting. Like Andre the Giant, King Kong Brody.
Right. That was like at the wrestling at the Chase,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's what I was watching.
And so he would take you to some of those things.
Yeah, no, yeah, when I was so young, I wouldn't remember, but I remember watching on TV a lot.
You would watch TV with your
Yeah.
dad to do it,
Yeah.
and then you guys would probably he would show you wrestling moves and how like what kind of influence did he give to you with that?
Well, I mean, it didn't really start until I was a teenager.
Wow.
He didn't even know I was trying to get into it. Because a lot of people probably think me and my dad got along, and actually, we didn't get along. But I was a kid, so his rules were strict to me, and that was probably a normal thing to do. But I just kept watching, and my dad would always ground me or take this away from me, and he'd say, you know what, you keep on acting up, but I found out how to get take care of you, and I'm like, yeah, okay. He said, you can't watch wrestling this week. And then everything changed.
He took that away.
He took it away, and that's what changed me,
right.
and I became a good boy. Took
Right.
it away from me.
So you grew up in the 80s watching the WWF. What were some of your favorite wrestlers? You said Andre the
Well, I
Giant.
mean, like I said, I was more of a WCCW fan.
Oh, okay.
Von Erichs, Terry Gordy, the Freebirds. I was into those guys. And I didn't get into the WWE until maybe WrestleMania 1.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, so I was more of an old school follower, with the NWA, WCCW, AWA, AW. So many letters now I can't remember
Right.
them all.
Right. Then they changed a bunch.
Yeah.
What was what was some of the people that inspired you? Some of you said like, did you enjoy the hero, or were you more like always
Villain.
interested in the heels?
Well, Andre the Giant was my hero.
Uh-huh.
But everybody else, it was villains. I was a Bruiser Brody fan. Believe it or not, a lot of people don't realize this, that David Von Erich was a bad guy. And I loved David Von Erich. He was known as a good guy in Texas, but when he went those places, he was known as a heel. So I was a fan of his. And he was the guy that was built like me. And I'm like, wait a minute, this guy, not every guy needs to be like this. Not every guy needs to be a 9-foot giant.
Right.
So maybe I can get into this, and when I hit my teens, I start growing, getting taller and taller myself, and it's like I'm going to go for it.
Did you do any other kind of sports when you were in?
I was a weightlifter and track.
Okay.
But wrestling, I didn't want to grapple. I didn't want to put full half Nelson's on. I wanted to clothesline you and hit you with a chair.
Well, how it's like. So if somebody wanted to get into wrestling at that age, that was probably what, the early 90s.
Yes.
Like, what was around then? I mean, how did you? Because you would have to go through some kind of training first before there would be.
Well, there was independent groups, of course, and I had a friend whose cousin was in wrestling, And I said, hey, can you talk to him, see if you can get me hooked up in training? And he said, okay, I could do that. Next thing I know it, I'm getting trained at college. And I was training on mats. I didn't get into a ring. I didn't get all the luxuries of that. I was
Right.
actually hitting pavement, grass, mats. And then when I finally worked into a ring, it was a wood ring. And if anybody's ever been in a wood ring knows that that's not the greatest place to take a bump or get hit in or land in
Yeah,
there.
I would think so. Well, some of those rings they're kind of sketchy anyways. They're not really built
Yeah,
right with the springs and stuff that
yeah,
you
yeah,
guys have. But
yeah. A lot of guys, I've been in the business 28 years this year.
wow, that's amazing.
And
That's amazing.
it's the wrestlers. I get hurt by wrestlers, but if someone asks me who's hurt you the most, the ring,
The
the
ring.
ring, because that ring is not a trampoline. That ring is not as soft as everybody thinks it is, and yeah, there's a spring underneath there. But when you got 300-400 pound men jumping up the top rope or jumping on you, that spring is there to keep the bars from bending,
Right.
and it's
Right.
not there for us to jump up and down on.
Wow. So you were doing okay. So you're doing your training in the '90s. What was the step that got you the first time in front of an audience? Like how long did it take you to kind of train
Oh
and
man,
do that?
believe it or not, it took me a while. It was I wanted to learn as much as I could. I when I started training in '90, it was about 90, 91. I was training, and they said, "Man, you're a big dude, tall guy, and I think you could do it now." And I got in there. The show ended up not being a bust. No one showed up. I don't
Right.
know what the deal was. I was a young kid, so I didn't ask a bunch of questions. I was disappointed. And my dad was a country line dancer at a place called Cactus Moon. And I don't know if you would
I
remember that
heard of
place
it.
over there by Northwest Plaza.
Yeah, I heard of it back in the day. Yeah.
And my dad said there was a wrestling show coming down there. I had to come down there and check it out. Well, it ended up being Frank Reed. And the company I was with they told me not to join him. They said, "You ever meet this guy named Frank Root? Don't join him." I'm like, "Why?" They said, "Because all of his wrestlers are dressed in t-shirts and pants. They don't wear gear." Well, I went to the show and it's like, I got to meet Frank Root, see what this is all about. They look like wrestlers to me. They were in gear. They were
Right.
wearing boots. You had to some wear t-shirts. Yeah, they did, but they were bigger guys, and
Well, that was
that was their style. They look like pros to me.
well, it was like Frank runs a tight ship from knowing him just through the
Yeah,
last 3 years, and
yeah,
so it's definitely professional the way it's run. The
yeah.
system of the RC, it was
Yeah,
RCW
yeah.
back then.
No, it went by another name. Forgive me for anybody
Oh,
who's seen it. I just cannot remember the name of the group at that time. I think it was around 2000 when it changed to RCW.
oh, okay, okay.
Yeah,
So then you met him, and then you I guess you had probably had to do a practice to show what you could
yeah,
do.
yeah. Well, I trained with him and his guys for about 9 months before I stepped in the ring. So
Okay,
I already had a year of training in, but there was a time period where I was searching.
right.
And I ran into him. It just seemed like the opportunity, and I took it. And 28 years later, I'm still here.
Now, did you go by the Irish Devil then?
Oh man, oh boy, now you're gonna hit me with the good questions.
Oh, I was just wondering. I was wondering the evolution of that.
When I came in, I resembled the Von Erichs. I just look like them.
Uh-huh.
And Frank said, "I want you to go buy a Von Erich." And I'm like, I can't do that. And he goes, "Why not?" I said, "Because I'm not that good." And he's like, "Well, you're good enough. You could do it." And I said, "No, no." I said, "That's a name that you got to be something. You got to have, the ability to carry that name." And I don't have that ability. But I went by Kerry David, which was a part Kerry Von Erich and David Von Erich. And I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, so where are you going with this?" He said, "Well, you'll go by Kerry David. Your finisher will be the Irish Claw or the Iron Claw." And when people ask you, you relate to the Von Erichs, I'd never heard of them. And so, but you use the claw. Yeah, that's my move. I don't know who they are.
Oh,
So I,
that's a good. Yeah.
so I went with that for a couple of years, and I didn't feel it, man. I said, this not me, man. It's not me. And so I went through about 5 different names, I believe. It might have been more, and just nothing was catching. And next thing I know it, I'm a cowboy. And I'm like, I hate country music, Frank. I can't do this, man. And I ended up tagging up with Trevor Murdoch. and I can't remember what he went by back then, but he was in WWE. I worked with him a few different times, and Frank walked up to me. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. I'm like, do what? He said, that's how you be a cowboy. I said, he likes country. I don't. But it was kind of a disappointment because I wanted to be this Russell so bad, but I was being everything I wasn't. And then I went by Skullface. I wore a mask, and it had a skull on it, so I went by Skullface. Then oh man, what was the other names? I think I was the Outlaw. No, that was the Punisher. And I wore another mask. I wore a bunch of clothes that give me more size, and that one was feeling kind of good because I was able to be me.
Movie was out by then too?
No, that was never even a thought.
Oh, okay.
And I just like I said, man, this is just not. I don't like this, but I want to be in the ring. I was getting cheered back then too. I was actually the good guy. The girls liked me because I was pretty cut up, and. One day, there was this group called the Foreign Exchange, and one guy went by Scotty Batavish, and another guy went by Danny O'Brien. And he was the Irishman soccer player, or the football player, or whatever it was, and the other guy was a Scotsman. He, did the accent and everything, and he ended up having to move on a job. So they said, "What are we gonna do? We got no foreigners." And I'm just sitting there minding my own business, getting my gear on. They say. My dad looked over and said, "There's your Irishman." And I said, "What?" And I said, "Man, I don't have an Irish accent, and I am Irish, just so everybody knows.
That's my question.
I am Irish, but I'm American raised. I was born in Dublin, came here when I was, I think, 2 or 3. So any form of accent is gone.
Right.
That's why I got this dumb accent now called English."
But Mid-Missouri.
Yeah. A lot of people ask
our hick language. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people ask, a lot of people have asked me why don't I sound Irish? I said, well, if I was a WWE, I would, or WWF.
Right.
I mean, those are the guys. WWF has had the money to go out and find that Irish character, or that British character, or that Chinese character. I was from Missouri. So, I'm sure if he wanted me to sound Irish, he would have made that happen. But, this is the independent business. They work with who comes into the place and wants to train, and that's what you get. This is who you got.
When you do those other characters, do you kind of realize with the audience's response to feedback that those characters aren't working? Is that how you kind of know that? Okay, this character of this is not really working, but maybe.
Well, in order for the character to work or the gimmick to work, you have to be that person. You have to feel it. So if I don't feel it and I don't think I'm that guy, they're not going to know that. So they're not going to react.
Right.
Like I said, I just happen to have a good build. I didn't wear a T-shirt like I do nowadays, but I was built and tall. And I got a lot of reaction because of that. Hell, I forgot. I even skipped her this one. I'm only 6'3".
You seem taller though.
Yeah, I seem taller, but I'm only 6'3". And at one point, Frank said, "You need to grow your hair out." And I'm like, "Why?" Because I just saw you walk on that rope. You could be another Undertaker. And I'm like, "What?" I said, "That's not gonna happen," But I was only 180 pounds too back then. But me being as tall as I was, it gave me some size.
Right. So when you became the Irish Devil, that was that time when they were like, we need a foreigner? Is that when it kind of originated?
Yeah, that's where, and what's crazy, I was in the locker room, they said, "There's your Irishman," and I'm like, "Oh, I can't do this." I said, I can't speak Irish." I said, "Oh, don't worry about it." So I'm taking off my pants, and I'm wearing green boxers. "You're wearing those to the ring." I'm like, "What? These are my boxers. I don't care. Put your tights on," or I forget these labels of what gear is.
Right.
But I put them on that, and I put the trunks on my boxers over them, and I had a green shirt on. "Leave the shirt on." And I'm like, "Are you serious?" And I went out there and I sound more British than I did Irish. And I'm like, "Oh man, this ain't gonna work." But the thing was, when that match was over, they were chanting USA. Literally 5 minutes after that match was over, they were chanting USA during the next match.
Because you did such a great
I
job as
did
the heel.
such a job because I was in everybody's face. It was me. I was never a bully in school, but I knew how to fight. And
Right.
then when someone got in my face, I had no problem swinging at you.
Right.
And so I knew I could handle
You're s-
my situation.
right. Right.
And
How was it like when you started out though, just building up that confidence? Because it probably took you a second to get to that point where, like, you knew how to control the audience. Like, what was it? Just
it was so easy for me.
it was okay.
It was very easy. Once that happened, I heard that chant. I was bought. I said, I'm doing this. And for I say a good 2 3 years of being Douglas O'Shea, the Irishman, my voice was a lot higher too back then. So, or not high, not like girl high, but it was
Right.
higher.
Right.
I sound younger. And then you hear me now, I'm rough sounding. People are like, you need to stop smoking. No, it's not the cigarettes. It's called 20 years of yelling at people. That's why my voice has gotten the way it is. I mean, if you listen to Shawn Michaels when he was in the business in the 80s and you listen to him now,
Oh yeah.
he sounded like a kid then. He sounds like a giant now, but he's only 5'9".
Yeah, that's with a lot of wrestlers, even actors and too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The voice changes when you get older, and when you do what we do, it gets deeper.
Who were some of your mentors when you? Obviously, it sounds like Frank was Frank Root. Bless his heart, love that guy. Was a good mentor, kind of always teaching you stuff, showing you stuff, telling you what you should do or whatever. What were some other wrestlers that kind of helped you bring you up?
I mean, it's hard to just name names and try to remember that far back. I mean, Hog Elliott had a lot to help with me. A guy named Beast, he's helped me out a lot. Just so many names. So if I don't mention your name, it's not that I forgot you. It's just there's just so many of them that helped me learn as I went on, and I just became more popular and more popular and more popular as I got into that ring. And unfortunate thing is, even though my popularity was way up there with the fans, being hated, that opportunity for a belt didn't happen until 10 years into the business.
Really?
Yeah, and it took me 10 years to get to that point.
Wow.
And a lot of, when I hear the younger guys, and I understand, that, they want their opportunity because they got their fans cheering for them. I said, but I sit back and look at them like, man, you know what I went through to get to where I had to get.
Yeah.
And you want to cry, but I shouldn't say cry, but you want to be upset about you not getting your opportunities. This is WWE too.
Well, I think that's with anything, even with the music or other people get jealous of people coming up of these people's opportunity, but they don't realize the work and the blood, sweat, and tears it took those people to get there.
Yeah,
and the time it took them.
Yeah, and at the time, Frank had, I believe, like 90 some odd wrestlers in his roster.
Wow.
So and then towards the end, the last 5 years, or let's say the last 3 or 4 years, he probably went down to 50. But when you're telling me you deserve a shot, and not telling me, but just saying you're telling me you deserve a shot, well, what about the 49 guys behind you?
Right.
We all believe we deserve a shot, but the thing is, you gotta earn it. You gotta earn it. You gotta do more than just show up to the show. You gotta help take down that ring, put up that ring, get out there and advertise, get out there and promote yourself, get on the internet and promote yourself. If you're not doing any of those, and you say I want this, well no,
Right.
this guy over here is doing all of this, and he deserves it, and then people get upset, and then you got promoters who say one thing, like you're going to be a champion or you could be a champion, and then they take it to heart, and then when that time, when they think that time's coming and someone else is getting that opportunity, they get upset, and that's the bad part about wrestling is the politics,
And the empty promises.
Yeah, empty promises, a lot of them.
Well, back then you were saying it took you 10 years to get the championship belt, but I think now that with RCW, don't they have a bunch of maybe with WWF? There's just so many belts now.
Well,
Was it like that back
no,
then?
no. Frank did not believe in belts, so there wasn't that many. I think there was a tag titles. I remember tag titles, TV title, lightweight championships, heavyweight championship, but that was during the years I was there, and not every year had those belts. Sometimes those belts would just disappear.
I see.
But I was the only one in RCW, and I say this with pride, held every belt ever, and since '95 till now, I held every belt.
Really?
And I've never went without a belt since 2003. I've never won a year without a belt.
Wow.
Except for this year or last year, and that's because of what's going
with
on.
the COVID and everything.
Yeah, and I'm proud of that because that means I'm doing something right.
Uh-huh.
And the fans buy into it, and the
Oh.
fans love it. They love to hate me. If you saw my emails and
I would love to read through your emails.
oh God,
I
I
would love
have for the people out there that don't know me,
I
go ahead.
I think you're the best locally. I like best heel I've ever seen.
And,
that's
and that makes me feel good to hear that
Yeah.
because I worked so hard to make that happen. I want to be the guy that you want to buy that front seat to see me. You want to come see me. It's like if you never saw me and you see me, it's like, oh, I'm coming to the next show. And I'm going to make sure I'm in the front row so I can tell him something.
right.
And I get those fans. I'm the only wrestler that I know of in the Midwest area, and if there is out there, then let yourself be known. That when I walk out of my car, there's kids right there ready to yell and cuss me out. And when I get in, and before the show starts, I got every kid in that audience chasing after me as I walk around yelling at everybody. Every kid.
You definitely worked the crowd up. When I went to the Quincy show, this was a couple of years ago, I was just in awe. Like, wow, you played the audience. You came out right before the show started, and like you totally amped up the show. I mean, if it wasn't for you, it would be kind of a cold start. But you like amp up the show right before it starts, and boom, it's like the audience is all into it.
Yeah, and I don't know of any other guys that do that. None that I know of.
Right.
I've watched a lot of wrestling on the internet. I watch a lot of wrestling on TV. Never seen anybody do what I do.
You must have some fucking tough skin.
I do. Because I've been
You
called.
probably told some horrible things.
I've been stabbed.
You've been stabbed?
I've been stabbed in the stomach with a steak knife by a fan. I got stabbed 4 times with a butter knife in this arm.
Oh my god!
I've had a gun to my head. I've been
smokes.
threatened with guns by fans. And I'll tell you what I'm saying. I'll tell you some of the things I say. Is like if I see a big guy, I'm just like, damn, how many seats did you buy to get in here?
Right, that's good.
And then I say, oh, I see you got a kid. How many cost you to get him in too? And then they get mad at me taking it serious, and I get it. But you also got to remember who I am and what I'm doing.
It's entertainment. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think some people think they don't distinguish the reality from the entertainment part,
Yeah.
which is sad. But yeah, wow.
But I teeter the line, so I do ask for some of it, but to threaten my life or try to kill
Right.
me, now you're something wrong with you.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, because even after the show, like I'll talk about the Quincy thing where I was at. These kids came up and they were hugging you, and it's after the show. It's like you let your guard down and you talk to your fans, and so you take great pictures with kids and stuff.
And then to tell you this and tell everybody out there that it took a long time for me to do that.
Really,
I would turn everybody down. Kids, can I get your autograph? No, and walk away. What broke me to sign in an autograph one day, I said, screw it, I'll do it. I can't remember where the show was at, but there was a good 400 or 500 people there. And some kids said, yeah, can I get your autograph? And I looked at him and said, okay, I'll do it. I'm signing this autograph, and their kids, hey, can I get it? I said, okay, I'll sign it. And the next thing I know, there was a line around the ring, and I would say a good 100 people, maybe more,
wow.
waiting for my autograph, and the show was starting. And I was still out there signing autographs. I said, "Don't get out of here! You got to get out!" I said, "I'm not done signing."
Yeah.
Because I was the guy. I was the guy that stood up to Frank, even though I may have been in the wrong, and I'm sure I was at sometimes. But he would tell me to do something, and I do it anyways. Doug, don't go out there and do what you're doing. Don't go out there and yell at the crowd. Just keep it calm. Let them wait for you. And no, this is what they want.
Right.
People come and wait to see me come out to yell at their kids, yell at them. Cause I know I'm out there. I'm listening to the fans. I was a good guy one time. One time I turned into a good guy, and that was probably the biggest mistake I made, but the coolest mistake I made.
What year was that?
Oh God, that was probably 2008, 2009.
Okay.
A guy named Sage Ramsey. I don't remember how the ordeal happened, but he had a bunch of fans out there, and he said, "Hey, throw me that hat." And he threw a hat. It was an American hat. And this was after our match was over, and he said, "Put it on, put it on." I'm looking at it, and so I could do one of two things right now. I could step on it, or I could put it on. And I said, "Screw it, let's see what happens." And I put it on. everybody stood up and cheered. And I was like, I couldn't believe it. And then the other promoter that was at that show said, well, now what are you going to do with your top heel being a good guy? And Frank said, I don't know. Well, I came back to the show, or I came back the next month or a couple months later to that place, and I was a good guy. And the fans, the kids mainly, they said, so when you turn into a bad guy again? I said, what makes you think I'm not already? And that's when I said, I can't do the good guy thing. They want me as a bad guy. And I listened to the fans. Yes, I did. I listened to the fans.
So, what's like some of the biggest like? So I want to go back on your history a little bit. So I bet just knowing St. Louis and the great wrestling town it is, I bet you a lot of people you probably worked with some people that have gone on to big things like WWE and things like that.
Well, Trevor Murdoch being the most well known in the WWE, worked with him. I've been RCW was where Glenn or Kane started. Evan Bourne came into the ring. That he got his foot wet there. Man, I couldn't. To remember everything's impossible.
I seen you wrestle against. It was past his prime, but Cowboy.
Oh, Cowboy Bob Orton.
Bob
Yeah,
Orton, yeah.
I've wrestled him. I was wrestling him for a good 15 years.
Really?
No,
Wow.
maybe about 15 years. I was going to say maybe longer, but I've wrestled him for a long time. I'd say a good 20 different times. Where if he was on my side or against me, I faced him a lot. Greg the Hammer Valentine, I tagged up with. And it was me against Cowboy Bob Orton and a guy named Steve Montana. Oh man, just trying to remember. Kevin Thorne from ECW, but it was WWE owned ECW. It wasn't originally ECW, but I wrestled him a few different times. I thought that guy would be a lot bigger in person because he looks huge on TV. And I'm like, oh, this guy's a giant. And I said, I'm going to wrestle him. Oh yeah, I'm kind of nervous and everything. And short story about him. They said, you better be careful, Doug, about wrestling him. I go, what do you mean? It's don't hurt him. Because I'm known as a snug worker.
What does that mean?
Which means I lay him in. I'm going to, you're not going to hear me stomping. You're going to be hearing me hitting.
Oh, okay.
Some people might call me a crowbar. I'm not a crowbar. Crowbar means hitting someone for real and intentionally trying to hurt them. I'm not that guy.
Right.
I'm in there to make the fans believe in me, believe what we're doing, and when they walk out, they're guessing, is that legit? Was that legit? Mm-hmm. That's what's missing in wrestling nowadays is not making people guess. There's another way of saying it. I just can't think of what it is right now, but it's
I get. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, you're.
People are saying that, oh, this is all predictable. No, it's not, because you can't tell me. You will never be able to come to one of my matches and say my match is predictable because I don't know until I get in there. So how can you? How if I don't know, you sure the hell don't know.
Yeah.
But when you watch something over and over and over and over, yeah, you're gonna start guessing who's gonna win. That don't make you. That don't make you a fortune teller. If you want to impress me, tell me the winning lottery numbers.
Right.
There's no way you can tell me you knew that was going to happen. You thought that was going to happen. I could take that, but there's no way. There's no way.
So you guys decide when you get there? Is that how it works? I mean, you probably don't. You don't have to go in there.
I will say this: when you come to see, if you come to see one of my matches, you're going to see the most hard hitting match you're ever going to see.
You take some hits. I watched one. I think you took a. Did you take a guitar on the head?
Oh God, more than once.
I have that like slow motion on camera.
Yeah, and that hurt. I'm gonna give it out because if you were there at the show, you seen it. They put a little baby powder in there to give it an effect.
Right.
Well, they put too much in there. So when I got cracked in the head, I also got blinded by baby powder, and everybody in the front. 10 rows. They're like, oh, God, I can't see. And I'm like,
what's a big smoke screen, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, but it was so cool. The fans reacted. They popped. I mean, I couldn't tell you if I had a concussion after that or not. I mean, I've been busted wide open by a guitar. And no, didn't slip myself open. That was a legit bust. I got busted open by it.
That's a good digression. What are some injuries that you've had? I mean, I've known you've gone through a lot of shit. You know,
broken neck was the worst. I got my neck broke, and a pedigree. The wrestler that did it, I'm not going to mention his name, but He put me in the move, and this was in '96. This is when that move was known but not popular. And I was trying to fight out of it because I didn't know what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm 6'3". He was probably like 5'10", 5'11". So he knew I was pushing up. I'll just say that much. He knew I was pushing up. And he went down. My legs went up. I smacked my head. I blacked out for a second. And I thought my arms broke. I said, "You broke my." I don't want to. No, I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss, but I said, "You broke my fucking arm," and he looked over at me and went, Psh, and walked out. I was in the locker room. My muscle right here was swelled up like this, and they said, "Doug, there's something wrong, man."
Did you finish the match?
Yeah, the match. Well, that was the finisher.
Oh,
was
that was the
the
finisher.
pedigree, and I walked out of the ring by myself. No one helped me, and I literally was inching everything. There was no steps. I was inching. I was in so much pain, and I got to the hospital. They said that, well, if your neck's not broken, you're going home. We'll just put you in a brace. But if you're broke, then we're gonna have to talk. Came back a couple hours later. They said your neck is broke. So you got a choice: the halo or surgery. And I said, what's the halo? And they said, well, it's a machine, and I'm gonna have to clean all the pieces every day. And I said, I can't do that. So what's going to get me in the ring faster? And he said, that's what I said. And he said, the surgery. Wow. He said the surgery will. I went to surgery.
He didn't say you can't do this again?
He told me that if I would ever take a blow from up here or down here, that it could break.
Oh, shit.
And it would be just as bad or if not worse. But it's never happened, thank God, knock on wood.
Yeah, thank God.
But I got 2 scars right here. I don't know if anybody can see it because my hair's starting to grow out a little bit. But they're bigger because when I was in the hospital and I woke up, I tried lifting up, and there's like 20 pounds holding my head back.
Oh, wow.
And I raised up and actually scratched my sides of my head pulling up.
You just woke up because you're startled and you're like, where the fuck
I knew where I was at, but I didn't realize I was being held down.
Oh, okay.
And the nurses were shocked that I had that much strength to be able to do that. And I was, wow. and this is how bad it was, guys. I was 189 pounds when that happened. 5 days later, when I left the hospital, I weighed 155 pounds. I was a bone. I was bad.
You lost weight that quick?
That quick. Well, I have high thyroid.
Oh, wow.
So that had a lot to do with it.
Mess with your thyroid.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they couldn't feed me because they tore my throat up.
Well, I need to lose weight. Maybe you just punch me in the neck. Maybe
throat punch. That's my finisher, guys. Just so you know. Yeah, that'll work.
A little weight loss. A little weight loss for you. Wow. What's some other things you happened?
As far as injuries,
I
had 8 mini strokes. That was through wrestling. It was just the stress of just doing what I do. Yelling. And when I knew something was going on. Because I was wrestling for a group called Ultimate Wrestling Alliance. I was getting a huge push over there with a title, and I'm always yelling, of course. But when I'm yelling, you see me in person, when I'm yelling, the emotions are real, but there's no feeling behind them. But when in the process of doing that, I have to be loud, and my face turns red, so that means blood's running up here real fast.
Oh yeah.
And they checked my heart, checked my brain, checked everything. They said, we don't know why you had the stroke. And then they said there's no drugs in you, no alcohol in you, there's nothing. We can't find nothing. And they said, what do you do? What do you do for a job? And I didn't want to bring up wrestling. And whoever I was with said, he's a wrestler. He needs to quit. Well, the dumbest move I ever made in my life, and I'm glad nothing worse happened than that. The moment I got out of the hospital, I showed up to the show after my strokes. And I told the guys, I didn't tell them I had a stroke. I said I was sick. I got sick from diabetes because I have diabetes. And I said, kind of take it easy on me. And they said, okay, well, how about this? You get in the ring, and I'll roll you up real quick, and that'll be it. I'm like, okay. So that was the easiest match I ever had. I lost in literally 10 seconds, but I just walked in there. I'm going to kick his butt, and then next time I got rolled up. Right. That was a bad mistake of mine. For all the young guys out there wanting to learn this business or any kind of physical sport, if you get hurt, heal up, Even though you feel like you can do it the next day or a month later, don't push it, because I'm 48 now.
You're 48.
Yeah, and I feel my injuries every winter. I feel my injuries anytime I move the wrong way. I feel my injuries when I stand up too long. So, and that was because of me being dumb, jumping faster than I had to. I mean, yeah, it sucks waiting, but you gotta wait. You gotta heal up. You got to, guys.
How do you prep? Do you I guess do you work out all the
Yes.
time? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I work out every day. Every day. I work out with light weights.
Uh-huh.
I go heavy weights, for strength, but for show, the size, light weights.
Lightweights. Okay.
And everything I do is basically sitting down because I do got a bad back, because I got 3 bulging discs in my back because of wrestling.
Oh my god.
Well, and those guys, I'm 230 pounds, but those guys I'm facing, like the match you seen, Bob Orton,
Oh yeah, those big boys.
Dick Brody, he's a 280-pound guy, and I'm lifted him up like a sack of potatoes, and held him up while he's trying to fight,
Right.
and even though you just see him going like this, trust me, that little wiggle makes a big difference when you hold a 280-pound man up.
Right, especially with those bulges in your back.
Yeah, so it takes a toll on me, so my bumps are limited.
You're still kicking though.
Yeah,
You've
yeah.
done a couple retirement matches. And then
Oh,
you come
God.
back, and you come
Everybody's
back,
trying to retire me, man.
but you make a comeback every time.
Yeah. I've done something that not a lot of people know. I wrestled a black bear and won.
When the hell was this?
Oh, that was probably like 2005, 2006. I wrestled a black bear. It was 300 pounds. They called it was a baby.
Wow.
It was declawed and defanged, of course, thank God.
Yeah.
They were asking all the wrestlers to wrestle it. But everybody kept saying, no, I ain't doing it. And there was guys way bigger than me that were saying no. And I said, no, I'll do it. You sure? I'll do it. I want to say I did it. And I got in there, and that bear, and this bear never wrestled before. He's never done anything like this. So the guy just wanted to see what he would do. And that bear knew more moves than I did. It felt like, man. I'm like, oh my God, and the power and this. And when he got me down, he's like, blah, 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 and the smell, oh God, and the hair was stabbing me, or the fur.
Yeah.
But all I had to do was hold down one paw, and I got it down finally. So I was pretty proud about that moment too.
Wow, I would love to see that one. That would have been awesome.
That tape don't exist. An ex-girlfriend took it and says, I don't know what happened to it. Yeah, okay.
Did you meet a lot of I guess being the wrestler? Did you meet a lot of ladies outside the ring?
Okay.
We won't go.
Yeah,
deep on
yeah.
those
Well, I'll
stuff.
just say this: I'm with a girl. Been with her for 10 years. Met her through wrestling. One of the nicest girls I've ever met in my life. She takes my bad with the good. So.
I vouch. She's a sweetheart. Yeah.
But yeah, there's, I met a lot of women. A lot of people look at me. Oh, that buck-toothed green-haired dude. Who do you mean? You don't realize how many girls want the bad guy. Yeah. I'll just say it like that.
I think, well, people are attracted to different things. Too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so we're talking about RCW. Right before the show, obviously, I love RCW. We did a live stream a few years ago, which was a great show. We'd love to do more of it, but obviously, it takes money and stuff to do all that kind of fun stuff. But talk about where that's at, and just how has COVID affected the whole wrestling industry in St. Louis right now?
Oh boy, as far as St. Louis goes, it's hurt everybody, no matter what state, what city, whatever it is. It's hurt everybody. I got a friend who runs a big organization called FCS or FSC. He's gonna kill me. Rocky Thunder. If you ever get bored, want to check out some wrestlers. Rocky Thunder is a big promoter out in Nevada, and it's hurt him a lot. It says Nevada's not making no money.
Yeah.
They're going broke, so this needs to hurry up, get fixed, and everybody needs to listen to the rules the best you can, because if you don't, we're all going to suffer more.
Right.
That's just point blank. I'm not a politician, and I'm not a doctor, but I just know what's supposed to work, and I'm doing it.
Right. You said your last match was in September?
September or last year, yeah. And that was an outside show.
What was that for?
IEW, Illinois Elite Wrestling.
Oh, okay. I've heard of them, yeah.
I left RCW after 20-some-odd years. Personal reasons, nothing, no hate, no anger, just left. Frank's a good man. But in long story short, his health means more to me than wrestling. And if I want to continue to wrestle, I'm not going to do it with his group and watch him suffer. I mean,
Right.
it's a stressful business. He lays out all his money into this,
He sure does. Yeah.
regardless what people want to say about him. He's still putting that money out. And if you think he's lying about this or lying about that, then ask him. Don't ask me because I'm not Frank.
Well, I think a lot of people don't realize what it takes to rent out
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a Quincy, Illinois
Yeah.
venue,
I
get
love
the
it.
ring, and
Yeah, just to make it real quick, that Quincy, Illinois, when we were out there at the Civics or the Oakley Lindsay Center, that's a $2,500 building. Frank don't have $2,500. Let alone I don't know too many people who just have $25 to bet on,
right.
and that's what he does. He bets on these shows. Am I going to make my money back? And when he's not making his money back over and over and over, it's going to stress him out.
Well, I know the feeling because I put on events too for musicians and the comedy show, and I pay out just to rent out a bunch of stuff all the time. And I'm the same way. Sometimes I don't get my investment back. I'm not trying to make money off people, but you don't want to like take a loss all the time because you can't take a loss all the time.
Yeah, we're not rich.
Right. So you're with you said IEW.
Yeah, Illinois Elite Wrestling. They can be found on Facebook.
When do you think they're going to start back up?
Hopefully soon. I know there's a few different places they're working on. What's cool about Illinois Elite Wrestling is they just don't promote themselves. They promote other groups in Illinois. It's all about Illinois. And they may pop in something about St. Louis wrestling, but they're doing real good. Missouri's doing real good with wrestling. They're allowed 50% of the fans. So they put on great shows over there. If you get bored, don't got nothing to do, go to Missouri. Go to you're going to be going to Hannibal or South Broadway. But I think they're allowed about 50%, so they'll probably have around 300 fans.
Oh, okay.
So
well, I know Missouri and Illinois, because we were talking about at one time doing some kind of wrestling show. I really wanted to do one and have an event. And I know like the rules in Missouri, you got to go through like a physical.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of red tape. Other than Illinois,
you got to do a hepatitis A, B, C, D test, AIDS test, and then heart monitor. But I don't think that one they let slide by. There's a lot of rules in Missouri, and they tax everything. So there's really no money to be made unless you're bringing in that 2, 3, 4, 500 fans. There's
Which
no
is
money.
hard to build up a promotion like that and just
In
one
this
time
sit-
shot. Yeah.
Yeah, especially in this situation. So
Right.
But they're doing good over there in Missouri. In Illinois, they're doing decent over there. They're only allowed 25%, but I think the rules are starting to bend a little bit. So I think we'll be allowed up to 50%. When that happens, IEW will be back for sure.
Well, it's just weird, different pockets where you go. We were in Alton the other night, and there was no mask, and it was more than 50% capacity. So it just, I guess it depends on the mayor of the town. So maybe
Yeah, that's what I was told. It's like they pretty much, if you follow the rules the best you can, like if like a wrestling show, keep the fans 6 feet apart. Keep the wrestlers in mask in the locker room. They can take them off when they come out to wrestle.
Right.
Take care of the ring when this match is over, and they'll allow up to 50%. But you gotta find that guy that will say that, or lady, whoever it may be.
You got to get those people back into it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are hungry right now to go to live events, concerts, and things. I think it's been a year now since the lockdown, so I definitely see the itch out there to go to these live events and see these things.
I can say this much: April 25th, I got a show out in oh my God, what was the name of that place? Oh God, they're gonna kill me because I said I would say
I'll
something.
put it
about
in the
the show.
description of the video to save you.
Yeah.
What's some of the wrestlers that moved over with you from RCW?
That's still working on bringing in new guys because that's the whole point of IEW is bringing new faces, bringing the old faces, but bringing new faces too, so everybody's got an opportunity to shine and have a darn place to wrestle. I'm not even going to break that group up, but there's some groups that have rules. They don't want their guys going to a certain distance.
Okay.
And if you do, then you're out, or they're going to discipline you in some fashion in the ring.
Well, I think it's looked down upon with the other promoters if I'm a wrestler over here, yet I'm doing shows with this group
Yeah, yeah,
too,
yeah.
and
Oh, yeah, and that's the thing. There's a thing called the brotherhood that we've brought back, where all of us wrestlers are going to work together now. Do our best to make this happen, where we all get along, where all the promotions to somehow work together, trade off workers, follow the storylines. So if me and you are facing each other, and you're wrestling for Broadway, you're a champion over there. They want you over here to wrestle me. Well, I have to respect you as a champion over there. Over here, you're not, but
right.
I'm not gonna belittle you. I'm gonna respect you and somehow, some way, work it out where everybody's happy.
Right. I see. I never saw the reason of that because like if you're over here working on this group and getting their fans, you can bring those people over here and vice versa. You cross promote. I don't see why.
Yeah.
Promoters.
Well,
I would want to be like, yeah, please go wrestle as much as you can
yeah.
and get your name out there so
Yeah.
you sell tickets.
But like I said, you got your guys you're pushing on this side, and if you come over here and lose all, and you're losing or getting squashed or jobbed out, then they're not going to give you that pushback.
I
So,
see
so
that.
they don't want you to get belittled in our group or jobbed out or beat.
I see.
I mean, but that's what we're trying to work on, so everybody's happy.
What's the importance? Cause let's go back on. You're talking about your injuries. I think a lot of injuries happen probably because the people you're wrestling are not experienced. They don't know how to do a certain move right.
Well, when my neck injury happened, we were both green.
Green, yeah.
When I say green, that means still new. I mean, I wasn't new. I knew my stuff, but working in front of the fans, the fans that Frank would bring in,
Right.
that wasn't something I was used to. I was used to working with the guys brought in like 20, 30, 40 people.
Do you like vet like if you have to wrestle somebody new that you don't know who they are? Do you kind of want like do you vet them, kind of know what they know before you go out there? And I mean,
Oh yeah. Well, me being I would be called the ring general because I got the longest experience. So if I go against a guy who's got 20 years, I mean we're going to be mutual because he's got 20 years, I got 28
Right.
years, but I'm the guy that's going to be the one that kind of sets the tone. How this is going to work, how we're going to get the crowd involved, how we're going to make this pop, how this is going to explode, how this is not. We talk, before the match. That's not we don't. Some guys talk in the ring. I'm gonna go ahead and let it out in like it's a big secret. Some guys talk in the ring. Me, I don't. I said just go with the flow. I'm the bad guy. You're the good guy. We're going with the flow. If I'm gonna do something crazy, I'm gonna let the guy know in advance. Hey, let's do this. But if I don't know you, I'm not doing it. Because I gotta trust you. I gotta know you're strong enough to lift me. I gotta know that you know how to handle me. I gotta know all that.
Right.
That's same vice versa. You gotta know that about me too.
Right.
It's a serious business. I mean, guys, everybody's got to remember we do get hurt in that ring, and not everybody's in WWE where I'm hurt. I'm gonna go make a movie. No, if I'm hurt, I'm hurt. And I don't even get to go to work because I'm hurt.
Right.
So we take this. We're more. I believe in my opinion, we are more dangerous. Or not more dangerous, but we are more concerned on what we do in that ring versus WWE. Because they got backups. They got backup plans for how to make money. We don't.
Mm-hmm.
We're independent guys.
Right.
So we have to work harder to make those fans believe in us, and we even have to work harder to make sure we none of us get hurt.
Wow. Oh, and before we'll go into, but your promo videos that you do on Facebook, I absolutely just love them. I watch them, and you're so good. You play such a good villain.
Yeah, I think Facebook has definitely made me popular. That's what got me really known out there. I did a MySpace when that was around. That's where it basically all started. But when I got on Facebook, I'm going to start telling people off. And now they got all the rules now that you can't say this, you can't threaten someone, you can't cuss. So I don't complete the word. So if I say I'm going to beat your face in, I don't spell the word beat. I'll just say B dot 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 T, just so they they don't get me. And if someone says something stupid to me, you don't know how to spell beat, I'll see you in Facebook jail, and I'll see you in about 3 days.
Well, I like your promos. A lot of times I watch these other wrestlers' promos, and I'm not knocking the other wrestlers. I just think some of them were too long.
Yeah, they go way too long. I think a wrestler, in my opinion, should be 3 minutes or less.
But in your 3 minutes, you definitely catch the attention. Like I mean, it's a from the get go of this start of the video to the end, you're constant. Like it's you do a really great job with the promo videos.
I believe in what I'm saying when I'm saying it.
Well,
If
you
along- and
click in that character, and it's. And I know you as a great, nice guy, and obviously you probably want me to say it on the podcast, but you're one of the nicest guys I've ever met.
I'm a nice guy outside the ring, but you get me in the ring,
Right.
I'm not the nice guy.
Right. I'd like to hang out with you. We can hang out here, but I'm not going to hang out with you inside the ring. So.
Yeah, because I'm going to be mean. I had to warn my family when they used to come to the shows. I said, I'm not going to be nice to you. I'm going to go off on you. If I see you're smiling at me, I'm going to knock that smile off your face. That's what's going to happen.
Well, that's so if you have something going on with your brothers, I'd be like, hey, come to the wrestling match. I need to tell you something.
Yeah. I mean, I have so much fun doing it, and I was really against doing broadcasts because I was letting people know the real me. But then I think to myself, people ain't dumb. They know I'm not like this 24/7. But there's people out there that do believe it.
Well, I believe there's people out there who believe it, but I'll tell you what, some of the most best interviews I watch on YouTube is like when The Undertaker's himself.
Yeah.
And he's doing like a shoot interview, I guess that's what it's called. And he's and he's just himself. Like, you respect the guy so much more because he's such a great guy, and then he plays such a great character, you wouldn't know it. But so that's what I think about you. I think you're a great guy, and you play a hell of a character, and I think you do a hell of a job. And if people want to see you play, you said see you wrestle. You said April 24th?
There's a show April 25th in Illinois. 25th.
We'll put it in the description.
Yeah. And I got another show July 17th. It's called Wrestling for a Cure. Wrestling for a Cure 5. It's called Redemption. What this is about is St. Jude's Children's Hospital. Anything and everything we make, everything, I mean everything, goes straight to that hospital. Their goal is to make $50,000 this year.
Wow. I've seen a couple of those shows. You guys do a really good job.
And like I said, concessions, everything. Nothing goes in our pocket. So if you can donate out there, go to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. Go on my link if you happen to see. Look me up on Facebook, Douglas O. Space Shea, Shea. I got the Karate Kid for our profile picture. I'm a Karate Kid fan.
Cobra Kai.
Yeah, Cobra Kai.
Okay, here's a question for you. If you were on that show, who would be your sensei? Obviously, it's a dumb question, but
if you don't know who the bad guy is in there, that would be me. I'm with him. Mercy.
I could see you as a crease. I could see you as a crease. Yeah.
No mercy. I've even been asked to be in a horror movie. They wanted me to be the villain. And I forgot how the story was supposed to go, but some like they were gonna be the bad guy. There's gonna be, or I'm the bad guy. I'm the leader, and I bring victims to me, and I would take care of them. But I never followed through with it.
You would be great. I actually have a script I wrote. I don't know if it'll ever get made, but I actually would write you in as a villain character. You would be a great actor.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a scene, I'll do it.
Okay.
But the main leader, no, I could never do it.
I think you could. I think you could act. Well, I know you could act.
Yeah.
But I know you could do it on screen though.
Yeah.
I know you could do it.
Yeah.
So, if you're out there, if you want to check out Douglas O'Shea, fantastic wrestler, follow him on Facebook. And go to see one of his shows. He's one of the best heels I think I've ever seen locally. And thank you for being on the podcast.
Oh, and if you don't do what he just asked, one throat punch coming your way.
do a little Douglas O'Shea in the ring to the mic right now. Right to the audience right now.
I'm going to tell everybody out there right now. While you're looking up at me, you've realized one thing and one thing only. You wish you were me. And the thing is, you will never be me. But what you can do is salute my flag, and that is the Irish flag, the flag that matters, and the only flag that is glorious. And you will all say, Ireland and Douglas O'Shea, rule!
Beautiful. Awesome, dude.